Hi, I'm Kirby Allison, and I'm here on the streets of London at the corner of Jermyn Street and St. James's Street with my good friend Eddie Sahakian. Of course, on this corner, on many nice afternoons, you'll find either Eddie or his father Edward out here enjoying a nice cigar, and as I was this afternoon. So thank you for a little bit of time.
Kirby, what a fortuitous meeting here outside the shop.
Yeah.
Always a delight to
Always
see
a
you.
delight. Well, we were talking a little bit about how, Davidoff of London and of course the Sahakians, you and your father, have been literally a cornerstone of this piece of London for over 40 years now. Right here in the corner for 40 years, Jermyn Street and St. James's Street, a place that has seen so much history. And of course, you two have witnessed much of that over the years. And so we were talking a little bit about how things have changed and just some of your family's stories. And so I thought it would be fun if you would entertain us a little bit on camera like you and your father so generously do so often. Share some of these stories with us.
Oh, with great pleasure, Kirby. This corner of St. James's is a really sentimental and meaningful spot for us. Of course, the shop itself is here, but really the idea for the shop and the first seeds of my father opening a cigar shop called Davidoff in London were sown a little bit further down Jermyn Street. Actually, at that time, a little bit further down, I believe it was Berry Street.
Okay.
Today, the location of Wiltons is Jermyn Street, of course. That's where it all started. My father was sitting outside what is now Francos,
Okay.
having a coffee.
What was it then?
It was called Macaris.
Okay.
And it was half the frontage of the current Francos. And next door was the original Francos restaurant. And my father was having his coffee and cigar, admiring what he believed to be the next, or the first location for the Davidoff Emporium, which was actually next door to the current shop. And we'll come to that as we perhaps take a little stroll along.
Yeah, that would be great.
And he noticed some people fiddling with the front door here because this was a boarded up premises back in 1979, and it was the Algerian Tourist Board, and no one had any idea how to get in touch with them.
Yeah.
So of course, my father being there and seeing these people was the opportunity to go and introduce himself, and one thing led to another. And Kirby, behind you is Beretta on the other corner of Jermyn Street and St. James's Street. Now, believe it or not, at that time, that was NatWest, which is
really?
National Westminster Bank.
Okay.
And that's our first commercial banking relationship that we established as a business.
Just
which
right there, at that
continues
branch.
to this day.
Oh, wow.
That branch.
Yeah.
And my father took a loan at the time, within a couple of years of starting the shop, which allowed him to finance a long-term investment in the lease. And of course, that's another very sentimental building for us. Externally hasn't changed, it's just the occupant that has. I wish they would still lend us money, but guns aren't bad either.
You and your father really are such great friends with so many of the other business owners and shopkeepers on the street. And so you have your finger on the pulse of everything that's going on.
Oh, that's really kind. It's a mutual self-respect, this little corner and this little part of London. We've known a lot of the businesses for as long as we've been here, as long as they've been here. In some cases, it's very symbiotic. We have Cafe Morano here on St. James's Street and Francos outside, who always look after us and our customers as beautifully as we would like. And then, of course, sympathetic businesses that help us dress ourselves.
Yes, that's right.
As a gentleman, you can't find many better streets in the world looking after your needs.
The most important one being here on this corner, which is your tobacconist. Well, let's, shall we?
Let's go.
Absolutely beautiful shop.
Thank you.
I mean, was this motif, the fine cigars, the huge gilt Davidoff logo, is that original?
It is. Yes, it's been sort of refreshed a couple of times. It's 24 karat gold leaf, all hand inlaid, of course. And you may have noticed on the St. James's Street side, when the sun shines, you get this remarkable reflection, shines on the floor. It looks like we're doing it on purpose.
Yes, that's amazing. It really does. It illuminates, I think, the sidewalk. Right?
Yes,
it's like a spotlight for the cultured.
Like the Batman signal, right? The bat signal.
Come get your cigars before the day ends.
Well, Kirby, you've come to an important spot here, because between these two institutions, Emma Willis on the right, one of our favorite shirt makers, wonderful, wonderful purveyor of British quality, and of course the current Francos, which is a continuation of the old Francos and Macaris, mean so much to us. This was the original location my father had seen and begun negotiations on to establish the lease. It's a smaller unit, but at the time he thought this could work.
Yeah.
And of course, Macaris was where he was sitting when he saw the...
And of course, at that time, you could certainly smoke even indoors. Yeah.
Oh yes, there was no problem with that.
Because this has turned into quite the destination for the cigar aficionado as they sit there in the morning enjoying their morning espresso and maybe some breakfast, waiting for the shop to open.
Yes.
With these beautiful windows, they can see straight in and know whenever the shop is open to the public.
And it's not just our customers. Truthfully, it's a canteen for the Sahakians and our staff as well.
Well, you guys are here many mornings.
Yeah, we're there many mornings.
Not to expose the secret.
No. So this means the world to us as well. And next door to Franco's, it's now covered in scaffolding. There was a shop, which is the very, very original reason my father knew Jermyn Street. It was called Vinci, and a friend of my father's, it was Italian.
Italian, Vinci, that's what I thought, yeah.
Italian, and a dear friend of my father's, and when he used to visit London from Iran in the 70s, in the early 70s, of course he would come here to see his friend. That's why he knew Jermyn Street at all.
Okay.
And that's the beginnings, perhaps, of the.
It's all weaving together.
That's it.
Yeah. And you guys have a really good relationship with Jason, the manager of Francos and Wiltons. And this is often a place that, we had lunch here a few days ago.
Oh, yes.
After we film, our visits together, oftentimes it's quite late, and you've sent us over here a few times for a very lovely dinner.
I'm so happy you've enjoyed it. We love it. It's a really good kitchen. They look after us impeccably, and they will always bend over backwards. Anything they can help with.
They truly do.
And we feel the same towards them. If there's ever anything we can help with, we're there for them. They're the sister restaurant of Wiltons, which, of course, a little further along Jermyn Street, is a very important part of the story as well.
Okay.
I know we've touched on it when my father talked about his very remarkable meeting with William Hurd, his original lawyer.
Ah, that's right.
The thank you lunch.
Yes.
Which kicked everything off.
The solicitor we all wish we had in our life, who really took the initiative to help kind of tie this thing all together.
Can I invite you along a little further? I'll show you a few more of our favorite spots. So if I may, Kirby, I'd like to point you to my cobbler,
Crockett Jones, of course. Doing some exceptional work. Another, British heritage brand.
Absolutely
Still
right.
family owned and controlled.
Oh, that's remarkable. I buy the Sydney loafer from them.
Is this what you're wearing now?
It is what I'm wearing,
Yeah,
and much to my dismay, it's the most popular one they make, so it's never on sale. But dare I say it's worth every penny.
I fear I've made a critical mistake fatal mistake I make all too often in choosing a cigar, is I've chosen too short of a cigar. It looks like you may have also.
I have as well. Kirby, like a good date, you should always be left wanting more. So perhaps we were wise in that choice.
That's right.
And of course,
Turnbull Asser.
What an institution.
And this has been here, as long as you have.
Oh yes, much longer in fact. Dare I say it dates to the 19th century. I could be wrong on that, but it's a true institution.
It is.
Fine shirts. I aspire to them once in a blue moon.
Yeah.
You, of course, have much more knowledge on that side of things.
Well, one of the things I didn't know until a friend told me is actually I always thought that the entrance to the shop was right here on Jermyn Street, and it is, but it's to the haberdashery. And that the entrance to the bespoke salon is actually around the corner on Bury Street. And so it's just something I learned just recently.
Well, you know more than I do, and I've been here 42 years, right? So we're coming, of course, to a really seminal point here. As we move along here, we're going to pass Wiltons.
One of my favorite restaurants.
Oh, mine too. What is your favorite there? What will you eat each time you visit?
Well, the one dish I enjoy the most, but have the most difficulty, coordinating is the langoustines, which are seasonal, They're flown in. You have to call ahead to see if they're even going to be available. And if they are, you have to reserve them ahead of your booking so that they're saved for you. Otherwise, if you wait until you get there many afternoons for lunch, they could be all sold out, even if you're the first table.
Well, there's no justice in this world, but we will try and sort out some longer stints for you. Wonderful. And of course, as we come to the other corner, it's Bates. And for us, it's a wonderful, wonderful hat maker. My father buys many of his Panama hats from them. I have very recently begun to explore hats. As you probably
Every
noticed,
gentleman, you've got a full head of hair.
Well,
why cover it, you know?
it's as it gets shorter and thinner, perhaps a hat will suit
Well, you have gotten
more.
a haircut since lockdown, I suppose.
You're right,
'cause you
yes.
were quite long there for a while.
Oh yes, oh yes. I thought
Why
that was Samson.
why waste a crisis, right? You know.
For sure. So there we have it.
Yep.
Shall we continue?
Please. Hilditch Key.
Of course, which of course houses
Yeah.
Bates.
And then
we're-
Taylor of Old Bond Street.
That's it, and a very meaningful spot for my father. This is where he gets his hair cut. Neil often cuts it for him. They're a beautiful, long-established business. All the accessories you'd want.
Yeah.
We source our badger hair brushes from here that you would
do you?
normally use
Of
for
course,
shaving.
yeah.
We use it for wiping the cigars.
Oh, yes.
Remember that, and perhaps let your...
Yeah, I think you gave me that tip.
I
That's
gave
why,
you
yeah.
that. Wonderful.
So I've got a badger brush in my office I have reserved exclusively for that purpose.
Well, I hope you have several different bristle firmnesses and hardnesses and lengths.
you know, I'm not quite to the level you're at.
Wonderful.
Great shaving soaps, of
Yes.
course. We sell these on the website, so
Oh,
I'm a big fan of
wonderful.
wet shaving. But you know, one of the things that just as we walk through here, I really love is, you know, as a tourist, as someone that's not from here, you know, it's easy to think that, you know, these are kind of relics that exist just for the tourists, the people that are in from out of town. But you know, someone like you and your father, I mean, it's really as much a part of your daily routine as one would probably hope it is.
Yes, you're right. You know, it's such a unique element to Jermyn Street that as a local, a gentleman who's in the area and you want to present yourself well, you think of it.
Yeah.
I don't go online. For me, that doesn't work for these elements. And we're so lucky to have Jermyn Street under our feet to be able to take this exact walk that we're doing now.
Yeah. Well, just today, I mean, just in today's time, just like it was maybe 50, 75, or 100 years ago, I mean, there are, of course, the people that live in this area and maybe the people that don't live close but come here as a destination to get their hair cut, to have their suits made, to buy their cigars for lunch, their shirts, and of course, Jermyn Street, their shoes. And again, it's what makes this such a unique place. Thank you. So that's great.
Wonderful. Well, perhaps I can now invite you across the perilous highway that is Jermyn Street towards Piccadilly Arcade, another incredibly important part of my father and my daily routine almost. Shall we?
Yeah, thank you. Piccadilly Arcade, they've got the proper purple for the Jubilee.
Absolutely right. And of course, Mr. Brummel himself facing the arcade.
The father of the modern dandy.
Yes. And of course, the two pillars of Piccadilly Arcade, New and Lingwood, which are my father and my tailors. We're very lucky to have bought
Both of you.
both of us quite a few suits from them.
This one,
This one included.
looking very, very handsome today.
In fact, there's a gentleman in there, he's probably there today, called Nick Fugler.
Okay.
And he is the tailor I trust most.
Okay.
He has the eye that can immediately distinguish the right cut, but also he will tell you when it doesn't suit you.
It's an invaluable characteristic of a good tailor is someone who has a great eye and, you know, can help us, you know, look better dressed than we would otherwise dress ourselves.
Well, some of us are lucky enough to have innate
I've got
style,
good
so
tailors.
I know you don't need that.
I've got good tailors. And so, you know, whenever you guys first opened, I mean, how has the Piccadilly Arcade changed? I mean, was New and Lingwood occupying both of the shops on this end?
That's a very good question. I believe it did, but I'm not sure if it was on this side. New and Lingwood have a prominent presence in Eton.
Yes, they dress the Etonians.
Absolutely right. Yeah. And they are a wonderful, long-established tailor. The makeup of Piccadilly Arcade itself has changed significantly over the years.
Unfortunately.
However, they have maintained and preserved the air of antiquity and tradition that's still there, whilst allowing more contemporary, perhaps, or more recent brands to make their presence felt.
Yeah. Well, New and Lingwood, I think, is an interesting place for someone that's in London to go pop into because, if you go upstairs, they've got a lot of historic photographs of the Etonians and, the type of garments that they've done for them, which is very traditional. I mean, correct me if I'm remembering this incorrectly, but don't the Etonians still dress in morning coats for school, even the little boys?
Absolutely right. Exactly right.
Yeah.
And much as I like to say the same rules are established in the Sahakian household, I'll be lying.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And then, of course, on this side, you have the dressing gown side, of which New and Lingwood is very famous for the dressing gowns. Please tell me your father has a proper dressing gown.
He does.
Of course.
He does.
I would expect no less from the Mr. Edward Sahakian.
No, he's got a beautiful, in fact, he's got more than one, and he's very proud of them.
Oh, I bet. I mean, I can just picture your father on a Friday night, dressed in his gown in his lounge. He's got a little smoking room at the house, enjoying a nice cigar, maybe a game of backgammon.
Yes, exactly right. With a little glass of rum. That's it. And Mum, not far from him, but not similarly regaled.
Well, let's see some more things.
Of course, please, come through.
So many charming shops.
Well, allow me to draw your attention to Deakin Francis. I know you know them, but for me, it's such an exquisite cufflink maker.
One of the best.
Variety. Oh.
And they've got some really interesting cufflinks. We did feature them in our Piccadilly Arcade walking tour.
Oh, wonderful.
And the gentleman inside was very nice to show us some of their more interesting links. I mean, they've got some classical ones. They've got some really cheeky ones also.
I can believe it. Well, when I'm old enough, he might show me those too. Well, of course, we come along, and next door to Deakin Francis is a wonderful military shop. They have all sorts of regalia and various trophies and statues and medals, but most interestingly for the Sahakian household, they have painted toy soldiers.
Really?
And exquisite ones. My son is an avid collector. But of course they're rather expensive, so only when he does well at school does he earn one, and he comes in here, and like his mother, it takes him a couple of hours to choose one.
Well, I think it was actually at that mention you gave me the idea of I may pop in here tomorrow and grab one for Nathaniel.
Oh, you will enjoy that. Give yourself an hour. There's so much to see.
Oh boy, yeah, it's an incredible shop with, again, things that you would only really find here in London. And these types of really kind of eccentric shops are, to me, what really mark the arcades. I mean, arcades are where these small boutiques are, the independent shops, small shops that really are purveyors of really specialty items. And this is kind of what I would expect to find here in the Piccadilly Arcade.
So happy you said that, Kirby. These arcades are the kryptonite to the mass consumerization, homogenization of even luxury brands. You do not get another shop like this anywhere in the world. No. And if you do, I want to find it.
Yeah, indeed. It surely does. I mean, these are the types of things that if you walk into Nick Fowlkes' home, are littered everywhere, the unusual and the difficult to find.
And it always feels like you've stumbled into someone's private collection, who's deigned to open his door and let you peek into the things that make him excited.
Yeah.
I love that about the shops.
Yeah. I've got a few puffs left.
You've timed it perfectly. As you saw, I was far too greedy.
I'm going to burn my fingers. Well, two other, of course, prominent shops here, Swaine, Adeney, Brigg, umbrellas and traditional briefcases, and then Jean Rousseau, which isn't an English brand, it's a French one based in Paris, but wonderful watch straps.
Oh yes, you're right. They've even done one for my iWatch or Apple Watch.
Oh, have
sorry.
they? Okay, they've helped to give it an air of sophistication.
Exactly right.
You're a big watch collector. Do you have any other pieces that have leather bands, or primarily?
I do have a few, yes. I've got a IWC Portuguese and a Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Geographic, and another Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Compressor. I changed that one as
You've
well.
got great taste.
Oh, you're very kind.
Yeah. Well, what I love about Jean Rousseau, of course, is they have the quick release mechanism. And so I've got my show part perpetual calendar, and I've got 3 or 4 bands, that I can, switch between. And I've got a brown snakeskin, which is actually a very sophisticated band. And then I've got a few black ones, and I think even a navy one.
What is your favorite watch? Is there one you wear in preference to all others?
I'm not a big collector of watches. I've got 2. I've got the Rolex Datejust. That was a gift from my grandfather.
Well, can we do a piece for Rolex there?
Beautiful watch, and
they really are.
I love Rolex. And then I've got the show part perpetual calendar, which was a gift from my wife for my 30th birthday. So very sentimental.
Taste. Yes. Wonderful. Wonderful.
Well, I do love this place.
Oh, well, you know Bud very well, don't
Of course, we're working on a series right now with them on bespoke shirt making.
Oh, how would you rate them as a shirt maker?
I think they're an exceptional shirt maker, and one of the things that really distinguishes Bud is that of all of the London-based shirt makers, it's the only one that continues to do all their pattern making and the cutting for the bespoke product on premise.
That's amazing. So how do they fit in there?
Barely. Wow. It's a tight shop. And we had the opportunity to actually visit their factory in Andover, and I can tell you that their bespoke shirts are amongst the highest quality.
Well, one day, Kirby, will you promise me you'll take me there? Because I don't know how to buy a shirt.
It would be my great pleasure. I mean, of course, in their hands, they've got some of the most experienced cutters in the entire business, and you don't need me. They are certainly capable of taking care of you.
It'll be more fun with you.
Certainly, it is more fun. And then here we are at the end of the arcade. We've got Santa Maria Novella, an Italian brand, but one that really kind of holds a special place, in my heart at least. One of their soaps, the almond soap, is amongst my favorite.
I mean, the aromas coming out of it. And of course, what I love is they're such a young brand. I think it's 1221.
Yes, that's right. They were started by monks, based in Florence.
Wonderful. Well, try their tobacco soap.
Really? Okay.
I know the size is a little larger than your preferred almond soap, but the aroma is exquisite.
Really, I should try it. Yeah. Well, here we are at the end of the Piccadilly Arcade. We've got the Burlington Arcade just across the street.
Yes.
And just on the other side of the Burlington Arcade, another famous street in London, Savile Row.
That's right.
And this kind of journey, up St. James's, of course, stopping by Davidoff of London on the corner of Jermyn Street, down Jermyn Street, up the Piccadilly Arcade, across Piccadilly into the Burlington Arcade, through it, take a right, end up on Savile Row, is one of my favorite journeys here in London. So thank you for sharing your small kind of piece of that.
Kirby, my honor, and this walk has never been as pleasant as when I've done it with you.
Well, thank you so much, Eddie.
It's a great pleasure, Kirby.
Always lovely to see you. Well, there we have it. I mean, what a pleasure to be able to spend a little bit of time with Eddie Sahakian, just hearing some of his family's stories of this incredible street, Jermyn Street, the Piccadilly Arcade, and of course, Eddie being such a kind friend, actually went inside Santa Maria Novella and grabbed me a bar of his favorite soap, the tobacco, and I am beginning to understand the genius behind this man and using a tobacco-scented body soap and helping to kind of normalize the smell of tobacco around his wife. So I'm gonna go home and put this to good use. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button and take a moment to visit KirbyAllison.com. Of course, where you'll find the largest collection of luxury garment care and luxury shoe care accessories in the world, as well as other great clothing accessories like this beautiful sovereign grade tie I'm wearing now, pocket squares, braces, socks, and so much more. Of course, this is one of the best and most generous ways that you can support the work that we film on this channel. And one of our newest ways to support our work is our Patreon. For those that really want to see us travel to explore the world of quality craftsmanship and tradition, 100% of the proceeds of this Patreon will be used to support that endeavor. And of course, I'm Kirby Allison, here today in London. And as all of you know, I love to help the well-dressed acquire and care for their wardrobes while exploring the world of quality, craftsmanship, and tradition. Thanks for watching.